Hey, what's up? It's Keith. So I just wanted to share a video with you. I was thinking of a topic that I could do. I'm hanging out at the Southern California Vipassana Center doing some construction work here. I've been living here for a couple weeks. There's a video on the drop down of some work I'm doing, just 1 minute of some stuff I sent to my friend. But I met a friend here who's been um, healing cancer. He's having some success on his own, and I met him here when I first started doing some service work here, running heavy equipment, as I've done in my career, now retired from it. And I was thinking of like, what video could I do for him? Or what's been on my mind, actually. And I kind of thought of him because I was eating some food, and I'm staying in an apartment here, no, have a kitchen, and I'm just doing my usual liquidarian kind of thing. But the topic is tactics and recipe for all levels of healing. So, and that's every kind of healing that I could imagine. This tactic is effective, and it's really just an idea, a technique. So, if you could imagine that, let's use the analogy of like a bunch of forest fires and people trying to put fire out. So if there was one fire, you could use all of your forces that you have to take care of that one fire. But if you have fires on multiple fronts, then it's going to be more difficult. So if you have cancer, if you have AIDS, if you have maybe old age, dying, broken down is a disease. My mom right now she's 84. I think she's dying respectably for 84, but there's definitely some choices that she could have made. She was 18 years old in 1953, and of course we know all kinds of horrible, horrible things were introduced into Western culture at that time, chemicals and all kinds of shelf-stable foods, and kind of the big movement away from the land and towards convenient foods and shelf-stable foods and all that kind of stuff. So, but still, she's 84, and I hear people talk about these kind of things of like, oh, this person's like 90-something, and they eat all this candy and they smoke cigarettes and they're doing well. And I just think, well, imagine how much longer they could live if they would have been healthy. And so I'd say the same thing about my mom. She's got congestive heart failure. They're sort of keeping her going with medical pharmaceutical stuff and just all that stuff. I tried to help her a long time ago, and it wasn't in her program, wasn't in the cards for me to help her out. She didn't like the taste of a lot of stuff, and that winds up happening with people where you're so far gone in terms of like finding joy, emotional joy in like bad things. And my mom's always been a kind of what they call a teetotaler. She's never done intoxicants and stuff like that, but she's definitely got herself addicted to, let's say, some matrix food. And so when I started trying to make her healthy stuff, she didn't want nothing to do with it. It's like, okay, fair enough. I can't really help you. That's what I do. So we're going to get on to what I'm talking about. And that's about if you have something that you want to heal, you have to heal everything in your body. So because you want your body to focus on the main thing that it's got to heal. So if you're trying to heal cancer, you don't want to be having issues with digestion. You don't want to be having issues with your body having to process like shitty water. You don't want to have to deal with you don't want to deal with seasonal diseases. You want everything that your body has to be able to focus on that main healing. And so that's why if you want to heal something big, In my case, I healed HIV/AIDS. There was a lot of fronts that I had to I had to address, multiple fires. One of the big fires, which I kind of got over a lot of stuff, but it probably would have been better for me to have gone to Vipassana in like 2006 or 2007 and become the meditator that I am now. Because that's one of the big things that you're always fighting, is your mentalness, which, as I say this all the time. So human beings want to feel, and if you don't feel right, if your emotions are not plugged in, and you could have those emotions plugged into like a lot of maybe hedonistic behavior or addictions or cravings towards relationships that you don't really need, and you don't have a healthy, loving relationship with yourself, all that kind of stuff. Well, when you start meditating, and this is not about meditation, it's about going to the most, getting to the root of something, of going uphill to the cause of something, because everything coming downhill is symptoms, if you know what I mean. So if you're not able to make good choices, like in the case of my mom, she's had a blessed life. She's a very saintly woman, but she got herself kind of addicted to a lot of like matrixy food, a lot of stuff from the middle part of the shopping center, all the shelf-stable stuff, not really whole vegetables, stuff like that. To where her and my aunts and uncles and stuff, when they saw what I would eat at family functions, which would be like raw vegan stuff, salads, and mostly salads and dressings that I would make in my Vitamix, and pine nuts and avocados all mixed in a bowl. And I would just always bring that to family functions, and I was known for that for years of doing that. But they would say, how come you don't at least eat quote unquote real food on holidays? And it's like, that's how perverse the matrix is, of where you call food that's like complete crapola, garbage, you call that real food, and you call real food not real food. So that's kind of some of the unlearning that you do. And even here at the Vipassana Center, like, for me, I have a hard time being here. I gotta like operate between the lines, because they serve vegetarian cuisine here, but it's low grade vegetarian chow, in my opinion. It's healthy for most people. It's good, healthy food for most people, but it's not for me. I have higher, my day-to-day operation is higher. It's more, it's not even things like tofu. It's just that they put sugar in everything, refined sugar. It's just, like I said, it's just this old school, basic, low-grade vegetarian shit. And not very much of it is organic. And with today and GMO stuff, and you just stack that stuff on, and you just got to go one by one. Like again, back to this thing. If you're trying to heal cancer, if you're trying to heal AIDS or HIV, if you're trying to heal old age symptomatic stuff, if you're trying to maybe, it's everything. It's like, maybe you have a problem with connective tissue, or you have like a bad knee or something like that. Like, if you're not eating well and you're not avoiding sugar, like all sugar, I'm a ketogenic vegan, then you're having like issues with your knee. And so the fact that knee is all like bound up and it's calcifying, that's a hangout for all kinds of bacteria. That's like the main thing that's going on. So, how would you, if you came to me with that, and in general you're like, oh, I want to heal this and this and this, and it's like, if you're healing cancer and you also have a bum knee, you got to heal that bum knee, because there's all kinds of bacteria and yeast and molds and funguses and all kinds of stuff. Like, that's the place where they're hanging out. And just to give you an example of that, that's why a lot of really healthy people, people like me, like I have some toe funguses because that's the path of least resistance, because that's a place, it's like the seashore of the body. It's where the least movement is. So I have like worked my way through stuff with doing yoga where there's a lot more toe activation, but the toes are like the seashore of the body, and they're like all cramped up in shoes all the time. So that's where all of that stuff is going to go. Stuff meaning yeast, molds, viruses, funguses, things that they call pathogens. But all that stuff, there's some level of where your magical immune system is aware of all that. And if it's having to fight on multiple fronts, then it can't fight the main fight, which is maybe something that you've recognized you need to heal. So I've been talking for about 11 minutes, and that's it. When you're trying to heal, you got to heal everything. Because you'll find, like, maybe you're working on something. That's why you'll notice if you start eating well, your eyes start to like look brighter. Like I have wrinkles and stuff, but I'm in the dark a little bit, but I have those kind of bright, raw, vegan eyes. If I was in the sunlight, you could see better, but my eyes are very distinct, and so all kinds of other things heal when you take care of everything. So that's like hydration, that's eating whole food, that's eating mostly raw food. And maybe you have a problem with digestion, so like you're not going to be able to eat raw food because your digestion doesn't deal with raw food, so you need to eat cooked food because your body's not breaking down raw food, because there's a little more effort that's needed with your body to do raw food. So you got to start. And this whole idea of people that are on YouTube that think that there's like one program of healing, that's also another big mistake. Of like you keep moving forward. There was a time when I was really fucked up with like HIV, and it really attacks the digestion system and stuff like that, where I was not really able to assimilate raw food anymore. And that's kind of like around 2008 or 9 or something like that, when I started following the body ecology diet protocol, and was just talking about people with like excessive problems at that level of, they always say that people that have HIV AIDS have candida. I don't think I did. I think my digestive system was just fucked up from HIV. So I'm not really sure that I ever had candida, but nonetheless. So when your digestion's screwed up, then you gotta eat cooked food. And then you start thinking like, oh, I gotta eat cooked food all the time. That's not the case. Now I'm back to like, I've been a raw vegan since I was a few months before my 22nd birthday, and I've been raw vegan all the time. But I reached that one point where everything was coming to a head, where I had HIV, I was taking HIV meds, and everything was just kind of coming apart, and I really couldn't digest raw food anymore. So I had a period there where I was doing cooked food, where I was, doing that protocol, still eating whole foods and stuff, but just basically boiling up some, some leeks and some broccoli and zucchini and some tomatoes and some mushrooms and stuff, and a little bit of salt, and keeping it simple too. I'm really into like, we'll talk about bland food. This is getting to be a long video. And then I just blend it up in a blender and have like a warm soup, all blended up in the Vitamix. Maybe a little bit chunky, maybe not. But my point being is that the health journey never stops, and you've got to stop the war, the multiple theater war, the war that's going on multiple fronts. So if you're trying to heal one thing, that's a big issue in your life, you've also got to heal other stuff that your immune system is having to fight. And the main thing with that would be, if you go back to the video and listen to that video that Truth Calkins did about, which is really 45 minutes of like kind of everything you need to fucking know about being healthy. You want to stop all those internal infections going on. Most people, vegan people included, if you're eating sugar, you're eating dates, you're eating starchy stuff, you're eating like, we're not even counting if you're eating meat. We're assuming that you're vegan. you got co-infections going on all levels. So that's what this channel has always been about. It's what I'm always about. Healing on an extreme level and agelessness. Aging is a disease. Dying in any way other than just passing away. Dying in a hospital, decaying, is not the way to die. So, alright, it's Keith. Iam Keyth. That's the name of my channel now. It's not Live Rockstar anymore. So, support me by supporting my music and all my other endeavors. And I'm still Live Rockstar on Instagram, and find me on Facebook and all that kind of stuff. And my music, most importantly, secondculture.bandcamp.com. Links in the drop down. Alright, it's Keith. Peace out. I love you, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.